Hi there. We are going to work through the study guide for your quiz tomorrow, sections 4.5 to 4.7. And one thing to note from the instructions is to make sure that all of our answers for these problems need to be in simplified radical form. So the first thing that we covered from section 4.5 was how to simplify radicals. So in problem 1, they want us to simplify that. Well, what we did is we talked about breaking out of jail, right? So we listed our factors of 27, and we are looking for a perfect square, so 1, 4, 9, 16, 25, etc., that would be able to break out of jail. So the numbers that we want to choose are 9 and 3. So we break the square root of 27 into the square root of 9 times 3, and we do that so we can use our multiplication property and call that, well, that's radical 9 times radical 3. We like to do that because the square root of 9 is just 3. So then our final answer would be B, 3 radical 3. In example 2, simplify the following radical expression. There's a couple different correct first steps. I always like to simplify beforehand. So this radical 50, we know 25 is a factor of 50. So we can break that guy into the square root of 25 times the square root of 2. The square root of 25 is just 5. So now that, not radical 5, sorry, that radical 5 I got from right here. So that radical 5 follows, and then this 5 just stays a regular 5. So then we've got 5, radical 5, and then that radical 2 that was left over from the radical 50. If they are both inside jail, we are able to combine them. So then we have 5 times the square root of 5 times 2, which is 10. So multiple choice options C. In example 3, simplify. There's again a couple of different correct right first steps. However, if you can simplify 54 over 3 under your radical, do that first. We can, in fact. 54 divided by 3 is 18. So the square root of 18, 9's a factor, 9's a perfect square. So that becomes the square root of 9 times 2, which becomes the square root of 9 times the square root of 2. Square root of 9 is just 3. So I have 3 radical 2, option D. In example 4, or problem 4, I guess, rationalize our denominator. Now, we have to use our quotient property, which says you can break that into the square root of the top divided by the square root of the bottom. Again, you can either recognize that radical 8 is going to have a perfect factor, or you can wait to do that until the end. I like to do it first. Radical 8 is going to become 2 radical 2. And then that radical 5 on top stays the same. We do not like having radicals in our denominator, though, so we are going to multiply top and bottom by radical 2. In our numerator, they're both under the radicals, so we can simplify them. And so we have radical 10. In our denominator, this 2 carries and stays 2. And then we've got radical 2 times radical 2, which is just regular 2. So then we're left with radical 10 over 4, D.